Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Steven here with Team Euphoric, and today I'm going to be taking you through an ab routine to help you get shredded just in time for the summer. This is week 2 of the 6 months to shredded abs routine. For it, we are going to need a yoga block, a kettlebell, and we are going to need a cable attachment. For the cable attachment, we want it set up to the highest position possible. And ideally, you would want to use a dual rope. If you don't, use a single rope or use whatever you have available. But in terms of the setup position, we're going to be in a supine position, meaning we're going to be laying down on our back. And with regard to the exercise, this is going to be different from how you would typically use a cable machine. The more weight you have on the stack, the easier the exercise is going to be, because the more weight you have, the more assistance you're going to have. So if you want to make it more difficult, you're going to put less weight on the cable machine. And this is intended for beginners. If you're somebody who's a little bit more intermediate or advanced, then you can consider becoming a member if you don't want to wait for the programs. I have the entire 6-month to shredded abs routine uploaded on my community tab. So if you want the whole access to the entire 6-month program, consider becoming a member. But we're going to go ahead. We are going to lay down on our back. We're going to go ahead, grab a hold of the attachment that we're going to be using with the yoga block. We are going to squeeze it in between our knees. And this is going to be very similar to last week's exercise routine. The only difference is we're going to be adding in one exercise. But in terms of the first exercise, we're going to be doing the assisted abdominal curl up. We're going to start in a supine position. And what we want to do is we are going to go into excessive flexion by rounding the spine as much as possible. So we are going to tuck the chin in toward the chest. And then one vertebra at a time, we want to try and raise each vertebra up off the ground as much as possible. And then we are going to reverse it by doing the exact opposite. So we want to try and touch one vertebra down to the ground and round the spine as much as possible. We're going to perform 10 repetitions of this exercise. So we're going to tuck the chin in. We're going to round the spine as much as possible, come up, and then we're going to come back down. So starting with the L5, L4, L3, L2, L1, all the way up to the thoracic spine. We're going to perform 10 repetitions. And then we're going to move on to the second exercise. This exercise is the additional exercise that we didn't do last week. And we're basically going to be doing the same thing, only we're going to be doing it for the obliques. So what we want to do is we're going to twist a little bit off to the side. So what you want to do is roughly your hand, it should be mid-thigh. So it should be somewhere between your AIIS, or your anterior inferior iliac spine, or your hip, and your knee. So somewhere right in between there, that's where you want your hand oriented. And we're basically going to be doing the exact same thing. So you want to tuck the chin in, and then this time we're going into positive torsion. So we're not just going straight into flexion, but we're doing a combination of flexion with rotation. So we want to try and get our shoulder toward the cable machine. And then come back down. So we're tucking the chin, one vertebra at a time, flexing up as we rotate, and then come back down and touch one vertebra at a time. And once again, we're going to perform 10 repetitions. For this one, we're going to be performing 10 repetitions on each side. So you want to do 10 on the right, 10 on the left. And then the last exercise, we're going to finish off with, again, another 20 repetitions of the diaphragmatic strengthening exercise. For the diaphragmatic strengthening, we are going to take a kettlebell. You're going to place it on your umbilicus or your belly button. And then for this one right over here, again, we're in a supine position. You're going to inhale and try and raise the kettlebell up toward the ceiling as much as possible. And then you're going to exhale and try and drive the kettlebell down toward the spine as much as possible. So inhale, drive the kettlebell toward the ceiling. Exhale, try and bring it down toward the floor as much as possible. We're going to perform 20 repetitions for that, and that is the week 2 program. So once again, quick recap. We've got 10 repetitions of the abdominal curl up with the assistance. We have 10 repetitions on each side of the assisted oblique exercise, specifically the external oblique exercise. And then we're going to finish off with 20 repetitions of the diaphragmatic strengthening. Go ahead, give that a try. And then next week, I'm going to be taking you through week 3 of the 6 months to shredded abs routine.